I'm Daniel Cortada. Welcome to the Art Center. I'm volunteering here. I'm a BFA, and I had the pleasure for volunteering on Art Basel weekend, which is an awesome, great weekend for any art pursuer to visit anybody, honestly, just to get immersed in the arts. And honestly, we have our tents outside. Art Basel is happening, and you get to see all the great work. But what's special about the Art Center is that you actually get to meet the artists. You walk in on them working on their work, which is a more personable experience. And I think it's makes it worth it. I mean, just seeing an artist fully immersed in their work. I mean, can you just imagine somebody creating this in front of you and you just walking in on them? I mean, we have people outside right here. Just look at the lines of people at the Art Center just waiting to get in. We have crowds and just waiting to see it.
All these artwork on the wall begins as some kind of a photo, as you can clearly see. The photography is all the way in the back, and there's reference to it back there. You can crawl in the back to see it in time. And there are also, as you can see, of landscapes. They are of objects, mostly trees, parking lot of some kind, mostly trees. There are kind of about this sort of view, you know, it's like what a hedge does. It sort of limits a property line type of thing. So if you imagine walls of vegetation, that is a thing for me. I like that limit, that sort of a soft limit to space, because for one thing, it begins the space where the public and private meet. So for an image like this, that is, even though it's in the back, it's not totally clear on which side of the fence we're on. Are we in the garden side or are we on the street side? So for me, that's important, because I want to limit the sort of like assumption of what is the face of this space is. So if we read this as a private side fence, then this is the beginning of a private space where someone lounges, someone gardens, someone lives, someone spends time there in a way that is really significant for their lives. So we're not totally sure who the person is. It doesn't really matter. It could be me. It could be any one of us, because this landscape is not really specific to any particular block in South Florida. Between, I'll say, Key West and at least Pembroke Pines is kind of consistent. And so it invites y'all, the viewer, and me, the maker of this, to think about what happens in this particular space, right? What do I do in a space like this? And in essence, I hope you think about what you do in a space like this. But that's private. I don't need to know. On the public side, on the other hand, there's this other operation that happens. Let's say I'm walking down the sidewalk, and this is right against the sidewalk. Same view, but within the frame of the photograph is really hard to tell. On the public side, other activities happen. Activities have to be communal, right? It's going to be at least me and one other person. It's going to be a neighbor. It could be a big street. It could be hundreds of thousands of people who pass there. It could be, like most fences, totally ignored, that you might pass by this on your way here, but you didn't see it because it's not, in essence, it's not really a structure to hold. But within the context of my artwork, I'm going to say it is a structure that can hold. It can hold information. It can hold both aspiration, narrative, emotion, and this is what I think all the work's trying to do. It's trying to take views of spaces that are definitely generated for the use of individual or us communally, and on top of it, I want to append language, narrative, gestures of mark making, to say things like, this is a good spot, I like this plant, or to bring back colors that I see elsewhere. So even all these, we can have some kind of a color photograph, though digital. We live in South Florida, and everyone sort of color their house pretty much on a tight palette. If you watch TV, a scene in South Florida, all of us can tell. And I propose the colors that you see in these works, and maybe in these two works, are South Florida's colors. For sure, I'll say from West Palm Beach down to Key West, and we can even go to the Bahamas, into that, a little Cuba, a little Haiti. There's something about this palette that is tropical and subtropical. I went to Orlando in the spring, and Orlando doesn't do these colors as much as we do. They do slightly different palette for some reason or another. They thought this palette was really exotic for some reason. So another thing that I'm doing in this work is bringing back something that is really significant in the landscape. It's not just trees that are significant. It's not just private spaces that are significant. The choices that we make are significant. The name that we give to places, the colors that we use, it says something. When you color your house, well, I assume not you per se, but in time, all of you will own homes and color your house. There's going to be that day where a decision is being made. The front of the house is seafoam blue, right? That's the name of this color according to Benjamin Moore, right? It's like, to say this to the street that you live on means something.
This is round edge, just smoother than over, and it gets smooth like that.
It doesn't mess. It doesn't.
No,
colors don't blend together.
a little bit bland, but then you correct it, you know, and then you do I do 3 coats. So the first coat doesn't have to be perfect, you know.
Right.
And that's it. The 3 coat is gonna make this smooth, special finish.
So what's your main medium that you like to use? Well, what do you use as a medium, the mixing medium?
You know, I mix my stuff. It's very simple.
Oh, so that's what you're talking about, the 50-50.
Yeah, no. What I normally use, look at this. The downward varnish. This is linseed oil. And this is this turpentine. 1 part, 1 equal part. You can
That's usually the part that I'm interested in, the part that's not clean, the part that's not discussed, and the part that's kind of dirty of all of our culture. We're so proud of how we're Americans and we're strong and things like that, but it's not always super clean to be a proud American. It's a process that's also killing people and hurting people. So that's what's happening here.
Wow.
So yeah, exactly. I mean, the ice cream is attractive, but then you're like, yeah, maybe I don't want that ice cream. It's kind of a killjoy a little bit.
It's really good. I really like your artwork. Thank you so much.
This side of the room is all my work, and the other side is my studio mate George. He does the more modernist approach to printmaking and art making, and I'm a little more of a narrative storyteller. Is this yours? That's George. Yeah, he does the embossments and silkscreen method. And these are all kind of scrap pieces that he's really just
So do you have workshops you teach here?
We do have workshops we teach here. Yeah, they change periodically.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, check on our website. They change all the time.
Is this your work on the screen
This is our history, yeah. Some of it's George, some of it's mine, you know, and we sort of are just showing elements of what we've done in the past.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Did you know each other?
Yeah.
Did you know each other before becoming?
No, when I got here a little over a year ago and I met George, he was sort of transitioning out as an alumni, and then we got along so well that we shared the studio for the past year.
That's very cool.
So, yeah, it's been an adventure.
And where do you live otherwise?
I live here.
You're a Miami resident?
Yeah, I'm in Midtown, across the bridge, but it's nice to come to the beach every day. I'm Lauren Abase.
This is you?
That's George. He does
That's Lauren Abasi. Okay. This is your work stuff.
yeah.
Name is on it.
That's someone else's name, but yes, it's the person who owns that drawer. But this is all George's work on this side. This is all stretched canvas that he does in sculptural and architectural approaches.
When you say stretch canvas, where is it stretch canvas?
It's all these sculptural pieces.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, with resin on top.
This is
That's canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here George is just after the door. You can answer questions if you have any.
I just wanted to make sure I could read it right.
Thank you. In that capacity, I know. He's really masterly about it. That's my sculpture. So we both do sculptural elements. I'm very much a paper artist.
Production studio, and it's not really like a recording studio for bands per se. It's more like a personal production studio. But we also have a green screen set up here. So if you check out the green screen here, you can see just puts me in the background or puts whatever you want in the background. Yeah. Which in that case is a picture of a fern that I took a picture of and ran through Photoshop. So we do a live webcast from here on Facebook every Monday. So that's kind of like the live DJ room, and then this is sort of where the production happens, and then drums, and this is kind of the live Ableton station over here, or DJing, depending. So, yeah, that's kind of my little man cave here. And do you play music or
Not really. I have a bunch of musicians with me. They just got lost out there, but
oh, neat.
Yeah, but sort of.
So this is the Ableton Push, and it's kind of a pad grid instrument
with the
wah-wah. So this is a track I've been working on. Might do it a little faster.
explores the relationship between humans and the natural world. I have 2 ongoing projects on display in my studio today. One is titled Glacial Waters, and in this series I use a glass vessel filled with water, which encapsulates and reflects the scenes behind it. And I'm exploring the water resource impacts associated with the loss of glaciers due to climate change. These images are all taken in Peru, and I travel with a group of climate scientists who are researching the water resource systems in Peru. Historically, the glaciers have served as natural reservoirs where they melt a little bit in the warm season and provide water for the streams and rivers. And then it used to snow on the glaciers in the cold season and it would build them back up. But now because of global warming, it rains on the glaciers instead of snows. And the rain does not stick to the glaciers. It runs right down into the rivers and streams. And so the net effect is that over time the glaciers are getting smaller. And Peru will need to adapt by creating large reservoir systems to keep water on the landscape. So in addition to photographing the actual research sites that we visited, I also photographed a lot of the agricultural activities that are downslope that are dependent upon this water resource. I have several more images which I wasn't able to display today because of limited space, but just as an example, this image down at the end shows the different kinds of corn grown downslope of the glaciers. I also have another body of work which I'm exhibiting here. This is a body of work titled Sustain, and in it I explore and celebrate the resurgence of organic urban agriculture as a means of sustainable living and healthy eating. All of these photographs that are on display I created in my own urban vegetable garden in Boston, where I live. And I have both color images, which I use to emphasize the beauty, textures, colors, and vitality of the produce. And I also have a number of images which I created as mixed media digital image transfers, and these are done on aluminum with a variety of mixed media. I've created them to look like the historic tintype because I wanted to create a sense of connection to the history of home vegetable growing in the United States. There was a history called the Victory Gardens, which happened during World War II, and people were growing a lot in their own backyards. What's really interesting to me is the connection between the past, the present, and the future, and our own responsibility as people to live in a sustainable manner on the planet so that 7 generations from now, we can all be sharing the same healthy resources of the planet.